Toys aren't the only way to bring back your inner kid. Well, hello there everybody, I'm Photo Dave and this is Toypixx, a channel dedicated to helping you and helping me get a whole lot better at our action figure photography. So, if that sounds cool to you, go ahead and click subscribe while I describe what's going on in today's video. Ladies and gents, today is my weekly chance to talk about figures that are coming out, or maybe ones that I've discovered that are already out, that are gonna look good under the lights and in front of your lens, at least to me. Now, what does that mean? That means I'm gonna be talking about 1/12 scale figures, because that's just the focus of what I do. I'm gonna be talking about figures that fit that and are really well articulated. They need to move like people. No waist cuts, anything like that. Now, if it's a robot, obviously there's different things that we can go with when it comes to articulation for those guys. But third, they need to have a lot of hands and some head options, maybe some weapons, things that make the figures a lot more expressive for photos. And then, of course, fourth, they need to look like what they're supposed to represent. So, hey, today I'm going to be talking a little bit about Megatron. That figure, it better look like Megatron. You know what I mean? I shouldn't talk sometimes, but why don't we just get cracking so I can shut up until the next segment. Do you have some little ladies in your life that you'd like to share your action figure hobby with? Do you have maybe a girlfriend or a wife that just doesn't get it, but you think maybe you can turn them? Ladies and gentlemen, I have found the line for you, in case you haven't heard of it, because I hadn't heard of it. Now, in the past, you've seen me talk about figures that are just import figures that look really great. They have phenomenal articulation, but there's always something just from an American sensibility. If somebody walks in and saw them, they're going to look at you and think, hey, perv. Because a lot of these things will have just flat-out butt cheeks hanging out. Some of them will be wearing bikini bottoms that have the butt crack popping out the top of them. And you look at those and you're thinking, I can't really put these on my shelves without people questioning things. And even if they look cool, even if they have great articulation, you kind of sit there and you think to yourself, that's probably a bad idea. I don't want to have to explain my collection to people. As it is, they think it's weird that I have Batman on my shelf, you know, things like that. But I have found a line called 30-Minute Sisters, which I'm stoked about, because if you've been following the channel for a while, you know that I have a niece, and I'd like to just mess with her. She comes over and wants to play with stuff, and I don't have a lot she can play with, because a lot of the stuff is like Mafex figures, and she wants to play with the animal figures and she wants to play with the girl figures, and the only girl figure I have that she can really play with is Lady J. So I need to make adjustments, and I found these things, and what I really dig about them is not only are they actual figures that are 1/12 scale, according to at least some stuff I found on YouTube, but they're model kits where kids can put them together, they can armor them up however they want, but on top of that, little girls like the Barbie stuff a lot of times. Not all, but this is kind of a generalization kind of thing when it comes to just how girls play as opposed to boys. And you have things like hair kits and hand kits and things like that, so they can change out their hair color. There's even a face kit. They can change out how their faces look. And of course there's the armor kit to make them really cool, to make it feel like, hey, these things could be on my shelf if the kid doesn't want to play or if they don't like it. So for me, I'm probably going to pick up a couple of these things, a couple of these little kits and sets and all that, so when my niece comes over next, we can open it, she can play with it, and if she likes it, she can keep it. Because there's nothing on that thing that's going to throw off her mom, my sister, when it comes to the American sensibility of right and wrong and hey, cover your stuff. So yeah, I know this is weird, but I was actually really excited to find this, because I think it's something my niece and I are going to have a blast with, and maybe you've got nieces and daughters and wives and girlfriends that might look at that and think, okay, let's try this out. You know, this is clearly for you and informational purposes. This past week, the G.I. Joe Classified HasLab His Tank closed, and yes, friends, I backed one. and I'm pretty excited that I backed one. I can't wait for this thing to show up. Mostly that light that shows the Cobra logo on the floor. That's gonna be great for photos. But I digress. They showed off everything this Cobra Commander is going to come with and all that. They might have shown it before in drawings, but hey, we've got a real render here. And what I'm really excited about, forget the Mickey Mouse ears. Yes, historically, that's very cool, and I get that. I'm excited that he comes with all kinds of hands, because when I look at that, I see what I would consider a complete figure, which has me really stoked, because most of G.I. Joe Classified line, it doesn't do complete figures. In fact, I'm looking at them now and I'm thinking, man, the way those 30-minute sisters go that I just talked about earlier, it'd be nice if G.I. Joe could come out with some of those hand packs and things like that, so we could really make our figures more complete, at least, you know, my definition of complete. But I'm digressing a little bit, that's what I do. But yeah, I'm really excited about this Cobra Commander. I don't necessarily need this version. Like I say, I understand the historical relevance, but what I do want is this to get retooled into more of a cartoon look. That would be really cool. But I hope he comes with all the hands, and I hope he comes with the globe, because right now, if they were to retool him into that more look that I'm familiar with, and they kept him with all those accessories, I don't need this Cobra Commander. I could get rid of it. I understand that people will want it. I'm not the guy that's going to go jacking up the price too much. I'll just put it on eBay, let the market decide. But if the other one doesn't come with all that stuff, I might have to keep him just so I can keep the globe and the hands. Being a collector is hard. Sometimes I just like to point out stuff that's really cool. And something that qualifies in 1/12 scale is the giant wild boar Backstabber. That's Backstabber. That's when he stabs your back. Look at those tusks. That thing's gonna stab you no matter what. He is, like I say, they list him at 1/12 scale. He's about 8.5 inches long, just about, I believe it was close to 6 3/4 inches tall, but with all that crazy stuff you can put on him, ooh, that's a scary looking beast. You can have just anything ride him along, you can have him just hanging out, and maybe he's somebody, oh, you know what? Maybe I've got G.I. Joe on the brain. But you pick that thing up, and eventually they'll release Naugahyde, and now Naugahyde has a giant wild boar that is his people instead of a little bitty piggy that he came with in the original incarnation. But, yeah, that thing's pretty sweet. Big Bad Toy Story is $179.99, so he's also a little pricey, but if you've got it, and you think that thing looks cool, because let's face it, I think it looks cool, go for it, because I want to see the pics. And last, but certainly not least, that's right kids, Light Week, is the Transformers ThreeZero MDLX Megatron. Now we've seen pics before, but what I'm really excited about is he actually went up for pre-order this week. So on the ThreeZero store, ThreeZeroHK.com, you can get him for $80 flats. On Big Bad Toy Store, you can get him for $79.99. I'm sure he's for sale all over the place, so check your favorite e-tailer and see what you can find. But I'm super stoked about this guy. I know I've read some complaints where people talk about how they don't like how ThreeZero is doing the heads, like the helmet part, on these MDLX figures. I have Bumblebee. Right now, he sits atop the list as my figure of the year. Prime will probably be delivered. He's finally in my pile of loot. I'm waiting for something else to show up in my pile of loot. And once that happens, I'm going to have that shipped. I'm going to look at him and probably think, wow, this one might beat Bumblebee. I love just what I'm seeing from this line so far. This Megatron, like, check out that picture right there. That's the one that kind of looks like his G1 box art. Total homage. Awesome work. But the picture that really sells him as Megatron to me is this one. That is a ferocious, evil tyrant who does in fact not believe that freedom is the right of all sentient beings. That Megatron, for my money, is pretty darned incredible. And if you haven't hopped on this line yet, they're not insanely expensive. I mean, they're pricey. No doubt they are pricey. But they're releasing them so slowly, it's kind of like SH Figuarts Star Wars figures right now. They're releasing them so slowly, you almost don't even notice it in your bank account, and that's what's going on here. So if you haven't jumped on it, and you're okay with Transformers that don't transform, and you think it's okay to have stuff that looks cool on your shelves, jump on this thing, because, rad! This feels good. You know what I did today? Usually I wait till around 5 at night on a Friday to record these. Today, this is closer to, right now it's about 1. And it feels like, wow, I'm actually going to have my Friday night. I'm going to be able to edit and do all those things and be able to do something. What that is, I have no idea. Anywho, you know the drill. Leave your comments below and let me know if I missed anything, because I want to know what out there is really cool that could look good under the lights, and even more so, let me know what you think of what I talked about, because I think a lot of this stuff is really, really cool. Now, as always, and hear me out, listen carefully on this part, I'm going to leave product links in the description below. The Amazon affiliate links, yes, those will be there, but here's what I don't want you to do. I don't want you to buy the figures from Amazon, unless you absolutely have to, unless you have no choice. I do understand when they're a couple bucks cheaper and all that stuff and you get free shipping. I totally get it, but if you can, I want you to go out there and I want you to support some of the other e-tailers, the guys that we all know and love. I saw a video on Nerdzoic earlier this week, and I'm a guy who actually champions small businesses in my day-to-day, so I don't know why I didn't even think about this, but he was talking a lot about the Black Series cancellations and the Vintage Collection cancellations that happened on Monday, and talking about how much that really takes a hit, like he takes a hit when it comes to his toy store. And so I think something that maybe Hasbro either doesn't think about or they just decide it doesn't matter to their bottom line is what happens to the smaller businesses out there when they do things like that. Now, that'll happen to Amazon and Walmart and Target too, and they might say, Hasbro, don't be that way, don't be bad. But eventually Hasbro will be like, oh yeah, our bad, sorry. But Target and Walmart and Amazon and Hasbro will all go on and they'll be fine. Those smaller e-tailers, when this kind of thing happens, it hurts. And so that's what I'm saying. I'm going to put those links there, but I want you to use those links instead to buy things like toilet paper, cat food, maybe, I don't know, anything else you use. Paper towels, laundry detergent, all that good stuff. Use those links for that, because if you click on any of those links and you buy anything on Amazon, it helps out the channel. But if I don't put toys in the links, then Amazon might say, hey, you said you were a toy company and toy stuff, and now you're linking people to Tide, so I can't really do that. But that's what I'm saying. So I'll be sure to leave the Big BTS links as well, just because that's where I find a lot of this stuff. But find your favorite online toy shop, shop there, help those guys out, because any of them that carry Black Series and Vintage Collection, they took a hit and they could use it. And with that, folks, hope everybody out there's having fun. And until next time, well, if you're not, have fun and happy snapping. See ya.